Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. We warmly welcome you to the 6th convocation of the Indus Valley School of Art and Architecture. You're requested to be seated as the convocation procession will begin promptly at 11 a.m.
The convocation procession will consist of a total of 54 graduating students, 22 from the Faculty of Architecture, 10 from the Department of Textile Design, 15 from the Department of Communication Design, and 7 from the Faculty of Fine Arts. This is the 6th graduating class of the Faculties of Design and Fine Arts and the 5th graduating class of the Faculty of Architecture.
In the procession behind you, the graduating students are the part-time faculty and the full-time faculty, followed by the coordinators and heads of departments. Members of the Executive Committee and members of the Board of Governors will then follow.
Lastly, the Chairman of the Executive Committee, Mr. Rafiq Fazal Boy, will escort the keynote speaker, Mr. Tasneem Ahmed Siddiqqui. The Executive Director, Syed Akil Bilgrami, will escort the Chairman of the Board of Governors, Mr. Hamid N. Jafar.
The design for our convocation robes is based on the aba, which is worn on ceremonial occasions in the Mughal courts. The material selected is the hand-loom cotton susi, traditionally woven in Sindh. It is embroidered in patterns evolved from Mughal designs. The headgear is a combination of the Mughal turban and the hunza cap, worn even today by both men and women of the northern mountainous areas.
All participants of the procession wear off-white khadi shalwar kameez, woven at the school campus by master weaver Abdul Wahid. The theme music for the convocation was specially composed for the Indus Valley School of Art and Architecture by sitar maestros Ustad Imdad Hussain and his son Ikhlaq Hussain. It is based on Rag Darbari and was performed live by them at our first convocation in 1994.
The exhibition you will visit after the convocation ceremony is the thesis work of all the graduating students and is spread over 3 levels. The communication design thesis is on the 2 lower levels of the Nasir Wanji building. The sculpture display is in the basement of the main building, and the painting majors have the exhibition on the ground level. The textile and architecture thesis work is put up on the 1st floor in the auditorium and the adjoining halls. Whilst you are there, please visit the central courtyard where you will see panels symbolizing ancient cultures of the world. These 20 feet long panels have been hand-painted by the 4th and 6th semester textile design students over a 10-day period.
The tradition of planting a fruit tree on the campus by the graduating class will continue this year. The new graduates will plant a chiku tree at the conclusion of the convocation. Ladies and gentlemen, the convocation procession is about to commence.
I now request the guests to rise and join our foundation year students sing the national anthem.
Excuse me. Okay.
The Registrar will request the Chairman of the Board of Governors declare the convocation open.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I declare the convocation open.
We begin the proceedings with the recitation of the Holy Quran by a fourth semester architecture student, Naveed Salam.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز مهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر سبحان الله عما يشركون هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم صدق الله العظيم.
The recitation was from Surah Hashr. The English translation is presented by Afshin Teli, a student of the 8th semester from the Faculty of Architecture.
The most beneficent. Allah is He beside whom there is no God, nor of the unseen and the seen. He is the most gracious, the ever merciful. Allah is He beside whom there is no God, the sovereign, the most holy, the source of peace, the bestower of security, the protector, the mighty, the subduer, the exalted. Holy is Allah, far above that which they associate with Him. He is Allah, the creator, the maker, the fashioner. His are the most beautiful names. All that is in the heavens and the earth glorify him. He is the mighty, the wise.
The Executive Director of the Indus Valley School of Art and Architecture, Syed Akil Bilgrami, will now present the welcome address.
Chairman, Mr. Hamid Jafar, members of the Board of Governors and the Executive Committee, the Convocation Speaker, Mr. Tasneem Ahmad Siddiqqui, faculty, students, honorable parents and friends. Assalamu alaikum. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all this morning to the 6th convocation of the Indus Valley School of Art and Architecture. Today's ceremony celebrates the successful culmination of formal academic teaching of the last graduating class of this millennium. Our guest speaker, Mr. Tasneem Ahmad Siddiqqui, requires no introduction to most of you in this audience, for in the recent past, his achievements have been discussed and written about more often than that of any other government official in Sindh. His own frequent articles in the press elucidate his thoughts on the role of the government in the development process. Remaining and working within the archaic colonial system of bureaucracy, he has achieved outstanding success in the social development sector by putting into practice imaginative, daring, and innovative initiatives. The housing project for the urban poor on the outskirts of Hyderabad, Khuda Ki Basti, based on people's participation and enterprise, the brainchild of Mr. Siddiqqui, when he was the Director General of the Hyderabad Development Authority, has attracted international attention and acclaim and is being used as a role model in other developing countries. The project received the prestigious Aga Khan Award for Architecture in 1995. More recently, off and on as the Director General of the Sindh Kachi Abadis Authority since 1989, he has worked ceaselessly to give security of tenure and leasehold rights to thousands of slum dwellers. Using low-cost, appropriate technology to develop infrastructure for projects to enhance social services such as education, healthcare, family planning, credit, etc., he has adapted with resounding success the same principles that his mentor, Dr. Akhtar Hamid Khan, applied at the Aurangzeb pilot project. And again, like his mentor several years ago, Mr. Tasneem Ahmad Siddiqqui was the recipient earlier this year of the coveted Ramon Magsaysay Award for Government Service. The Magsaysay Award, instituted over 40 years ago in memory of the first president of the Philippines, is also known as the Asian Nobel Prize. Dr. Akhtar Hamid Khan is quoted by Arif Hassan as saying, "In 15 years, we have found only one Tasneem. If we had found even 10 other officers like him, you can imagine the results." Tasneem Sahab, your presence here today is a great honor for this institution and a source of inspiration for all of us at the Indus Valley School. Four illustrious personalities of our time, all outstanding educationists who have had a profound influence on millions of lives in Pakistan and abroad through their writings, teachings, actions, and strength of character, were lost to the world this year. The first loss in January, under the most senseless and tragic circumstances, was of an artist of great significance, Professor Zahur al-Akhlaq, along with his most talented daughter, Jahanara. Zahur was a member of the first Board of Governors of Indus Valley School and had designed the school's symbol, which is erected at the entrance to the campus. A true guide and mentor to hundreds of art students and artists in Pakistan and abroad, Zahur's last exhibition was a retrospective of over 100 of his works of art displayed at the Indus Valley School in December last year. In recognition of his outstanding contribution to the visual arts, a special award was given to him at the 1998 Convocation. As a tribute to his memory, the school's permanent art gallery in the east wing of Nasarwanji building will be named as the Zahur al-Akhlaq Gallery. In April, we lost Professor Dr. Iqbal Ahmed, teacher, orator, columnist, commentator on contemporary history, and acknowledged spokesman of all the colonized and oppressed people around the world. One cannot easily forget his brilliant address as the keynote speaker at our second convocation in 1995. Iqbal Sahab had a very deep affinity with the Indus Valley School and its philosophy, and followed its progress and development with considerable interest. Within a period of 1 month, in October-November, the school mourned, along with the rest of the country, the loss of Dr. Akhtar Hamid Khan and Professor Qarar Hussain, two eminent personages of this age who have been instrumental in changing the destiny and molding the lives of thousands of people who have been fortunate to be influenced by them. Qarar Sahab, as the first chairman of the Board of Governors in 1991 to 94, by his distinguished personality, gave credibility, respectability, and stature to the Indus Valley School in its formative years. He guided the affairs of the new school with remarkable understanding and foresight, and remained a father figure and mentor until the end. An ardent and vocal promoter of Indus Valley School, Dr. Akhtar Hamid Khan succeeded Qarar Sahab as the second chairman of the Board of Governors, 1994-97. A firm believer in the lead role of NGOs and the private enterprise in institution building, he often quoted with great pride the example of Indus Valley School as a success story. He was a pillar of strength and a giant among men. His association with the school was a source of great inspiration for all of us. It would not be out of place to mention names of some other well-wishers and artists who passed away this year. Art critics S. Amjad Ali and Hamid Zaman, artist Sardar Muhammad, and artist and broadcaster Nasir Shamsi. The last named, Mr. Nasir Shamsi, incidentally, gave the first lecture to the first batch of students on the first morning of the founding of Indus Valley School on September 15, 1990. Ladies and gentlemen, may I request you all to rise and observe a minute's silence in prayer in memory of the departed souls. Thank you. The Indus Valley School, as a non-commercial, not-for-profit institution, now in its 10th year of founding, continues to serve, in a small way, the community at large. The school is committed to make available the best possible education and provide equal opportunity to a wide spectrum of students hailing from diverse socio-economic backgrounds wishing to pursue higher education in architecture and the visual arts. Since merit is the only determining factor in the admissions process, Inability to pay the tuition fee does not jeopardize a student's chances of studying here. About 20% of the students receive financial assistance in the form of Qarz-e Hasna, half of whom receive to the full extent of the full tuition fee. This year, a sum of rupees 2.3 million has been committed for this purpose, although to date there is a shortfall of 1.2 million in the fund. In accordance with the school's policy, names of the recipients as well as the sponsors to the fund are kept strictly confidential. At the last convocation, I had stressed on the need for an ongoing dialogue, discussion and debate to look at ourselves critically and to determine how much of what we had set out to do 10 years ago had been achieved. Is the philosophy of the school formulated at that time still relevant in the face of new socio-economic realities, complexities, and demands of the present day? Towards this end, and prompted by the chairman of the Executive Committee, a dialogue involving the founders, representatives of the board, the Executive Committee, heads of departments, alumni, and the students was initiated earlier this year. The recommendations from 2 day-long intensive meetings are with the Executive Committee, which is now formulating long-term strategies for adoption by the school. The school's gift shop, Art Mandi, opens its doors on August 14th. It is intended that this exclusive shop becomes the outlet for the creative talent of our students, alumni, and the faculty. We invite you to visit Art Mandi after the convocation ceremony. During the current year, the number of full-time and part-time faculty remained constant at 58, whilst the strength of the student body reduced from 299 to 280, following a dropout pattern common to art schools universally. With the admissions in the foundation year in January 2000, the number of students will increase to 325. The foundation year offers a dynamic, well-structured program concerned with preparing students to enter into their respective disciplines in the second year of study. The diverse faculty teaching the foundation year has continued to make its mark professionally in different spheres of the visual arts within and outside Pakistan. David Aylesworth, head of the foundation year, has had an eventful year participating in exhibitions and workshops and giving lectures across the globe. At the first Fukuoka Asian Art Triennale, Japan, the third Asia Pacific Triennale, Brisbane, Australia, and then in Melbourne and Adelaide, followed by a collaborative exhibition in Taipei and 3 group shows in Karachi. Currently, he's visiting art schools in Paris under the Visiting Artists program sponsored by the French Embassy in Islamabad. Meher Afroz, senior faculty of the foundation year in fine arts, has had successful exhibitions of her paintings and prints in Karachi and Colombo and participated in group shows in UK and the US. Ruhi Ahmed, Abdul Jabbar Gul, and IVS alumnus Fatima Jamil, all foundation year and fine arts faculty, have exhibited their work in different group shows in Karachi. Most of the teachers attached to the Faculty of Architecture are practicing professionals who bring to the studio a wealth of real-life experience. Many design assignments given to students are real, community-oriented projects, which, if approved by the sponsors, are likely to be adopted for construction. One such project, designed by the 6th semester students, is a high school at Bhitai Colony, Kurangi, for the Jinnah Foundation. Marcus Berger, an Austrian architect who has been teaching at the school for the last 3 semesters, will return home in January 2000. A competent, committed member of the architecture faculty, his quiet, friendly presence will be missed by us. A Belgian architect and urban designer, Christophe Pollock, will join the faculty next month in place of Marcus. Amongst the other faculty, Uwais Haseen, coordinator for final year dissertation and thesis, continues to contribute articles and critical essays to newspapers and periodicals on topics of professional interest. The students of the Department of Communication Design have been in the forefront in serving the community through design. The signage designed by the fourth semester students last year for National Institute of Child Health, when implemented earlier this year, met with such success that there is a demand from other institutions like the Jinnah Hospital for designing and installing their signage. The students will continue the research over the next semester and make presentations to the hospital. The same class, the same students, designed posters on the topic Women and Children in Jail, sponsored by the British Council. These were extremely well received and remained on display at the British Council Gallery for over a month in November. It was a great honor for the school when Babita Dawani, Sadia Qutbuddin and Rizwan Ahmad won the first, third and fifth prizes respectively in a poster design competition organized by the International Committee for the Red Cross in Islamabad. The winner has earned a 7-day trip to Sri Lanka. The students of the department have also been active otherwise in other co-curricular and extracurricular activities. Sadia Qutbuddin bagged the second prize at the Inter-Institute debating competition. The teaching faculty of the Communication Design Department has also been active. Shiraz Wania, the coordinator, and Muhammad Ali from the faculty designed the book Jinnah Anthology, published by the Jinnah Society and Oxford University Press. Another faculty member, Usman Ghauri, who is a prolific printmaker, held solo exhibitions of his prints in Lahore and Karachi recently. He is soon joining the University of New South Wales, Australia, to do a master's course in printmaking. Athar Jamal has also held a solo show of his watercolors at Karachi recently. Since last year, the Department of Textile Design has offered the students the option to major in weaving or print designing. The top floor of the campus where the department is located is always humming with activity. Some of the most colorful and exciting work is created here by the students under the watchful eye of the head of the department, Shahnaz Ismail. Shahnaz also serves on the Board of Governors of the National College of Art, Lahore, and conducts lectures at the Textile University. In recognition of her professional work and commitment to the teaching profession, last year she was awarded the Associateship of the National College of Arts, her alma mater. The faculty, which now includes 3 graduates of 1998, along with the students, continue to serve the community by working closely with NGOs such as Roots for Equity, who are striving to uplift the socio-economic status of women in Khasba Colony, Karachi. With Sangi, which operates in Haripur and remote villages of NWFP, and with the Karakoram Handicraft Development Center in Hunza, where our students provide basic design input to increase their product range. The department constantly receives requests from textile mills and printing units for design inputs, and these are provided as and when feasible. The smallest of the departments is Fine Arts, supervised by coordinator Sayyid Ahmed Wasif, in which spirited students, despite their low strength, manage to do a lot of community work for institutions which are in need of their artistic talents. They have helped in livening up public spaces through their creative art, the most recent being an event to raise funds for the SOS Village. Samina Mansoori and Naiza Khan from the faculty are active as painter and printmaker and exhibit their work regularly. Once again, this year, the response from the external examiners who came to assess the thesis projects of the graduating students was highly encouraging. 5 out of 7 students received a distinction in thesis in the fine arts. One of these 7 students is a special student, Hina Iftikhar, with impaired hearing and speech, who will receive a diploma in painting. To continue, 6 out of 10 students received a distinction in thesis in textile design. Four out of 16 students received a distinction in thesis in communication design. And three out of 21 students received a distinction in thesis in architecture. I would like to commend our faculty, the essential facilitators, for their high level of commitment to teaching and to the school. It is a faculty that any institution can be proud of. At the same time, you, the graduating students, have relentlessly worked to achieve these excellent results. I would like to congratulate you and your proud parents and guardians. The graduating students, I wish to share with you a quote from a letterhead of Mr. Akbar Fazilboy, who happens to be sitting here in the audience. He's the father of our chairman of the executive committee. It reads, and I quote, "Conscience is a sacred sanctuary where God alone may enter as a judge." Today marks the beginning of a new chapter in your lives, and you're about to enter a world troubled with conflicts and contentious moral and ethical issues, where a thin line separates right from wrong. When taking a decision, remember to trust your own conscience. You will never fail. I wish you the very best at your endeavors. Thank you.
May I now request Mrs. Tasneem Ahmed Siddiqqui to deliver the convocation address.
Mr. Chairman, guests, member of the Board of Governors, faculty of the Indus Valley School, graduating students, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to speak at the 6th convocation of the Indus Valley School. This day becomes more poignant because it marks the completion of 10 marvelous years of this Center of Excellence. I thank you very much for according me this privilege. Convocations are an occasion of joy and felicitation for the graduating students, their parents and faculty members. On this day, the sheltered and carefree college life comes to an end, and the students prepare themselves to face challenges of the real world. They expect some sermonizing and words of wisdom from the keynote speakers and the chief guests. Young people all over the world are full of idealism and have romantic notions about progress, development, social change, and modernization. They do not come across the harsh realities of life as long as they are in the college and lead a protected life. For example, they do not know how the society is organized, what is its power structure, who are the real decision makers, what role different stakeholders play, and how they interact with each other. They also have little knowledge about the process of planning and development at government level, its strengths and weaknesses. Unfortunately, they also do not know there are two nations living side by side, the rich having no knowledge how the other half lives. These issues may appear mundane, but this morning I'll be focusing my attention on some of them, especially on communities' role in social development and why its participation in the whole planning and development process is necessary. But before we do that, let us have an overview of our achievements and problems as an independent nation. Our country is an interesting case study for social anthropologists and political economists. Pakistan's growth has been fastest in South Asia. On average, GNP has increased by about 6% a year during the last 5 decades. This is in spite of the fact that we have had a feudal system and our rate of literacy was one of the lowest in the region. But this growth raises a puzzling question. Why is a major chunk of our people poor when the economy has made such rapid progress? More puzzling is the fact that 24 million to 40, puzzling the fact that in just 5 years between 1990 and 95, the number of poor has risen from 24 million to 42 million. To quote late Dr. Mehboob ul Haq, indices of poverty and deprivation are so widespread and so stark that many skeptics have begun to doubt the reality of economic growth itself. There are many others who do not see any evidence of this economic advance in the lives of ordinary people. If you look back, Pakistan had all the potential and promise of reaching the takeoff stage even at the time of partition. In order to have a clearer idea, let us see what was happening in China, South Korea, India, and Bangladesh, then East Pakistan in 1947. In contrast to Pakistan, China and South Korea were two completely ruined countries. Foreign invasion and civil war had destroyed much of the infrastructure they had. Administrative machinery had totally collapsed. Warlordism was the bane of their lives. Poverty, hunger, and disease were pervasive, and it was difficult even to feed the teeming millions. East Pakistan, with a small area, huge population, and very few resources, recurring natural disasters to top it all, was treated as a basket case till 1971, and by no less than a person than Secretary of State of the United States. When, in 1971, after using their foreign exchange resources to the full, we pushed them out of our federation. India, with its enormous population, inept and inefficient bureaucracy, rigid distinction of caste and creed, was faced with cringing poverty. Its socialist model didn't deliver, and in a way stifled the rate of economic growth. But West Pakistan, and this is against the many myths and misconceptions about West Pakistan's potential. West Pakistan in 1947, with manageable population, inherited sound administrative framework, a fine network of roads, railways, and educational institutions. It had the best canal system of the world and was in possession of the state-of-the-art irrigation technology. Again, its railway network, backed by a huge workshop at Lahore and another at Jhelum, was one of the best in Asia. In addition, there was a ship repair workshop at Karachi. Besides, There were a large number of engineers experienced in the design and construction of roads, railways, bridges, canals, dams, and barrages. This technological expertise was ready to be employed for earning foreign exchange. In various towns of West Pakistan, a small and medium-sized engineering industry existed and could be expanded very easily. In food grains, it was not only self-sufficient, but it was able to export surpluses to other parts of the subcontinent. West Punjab at the time was rightly called the granary of South Asia. Besides milk, dairy products, hides and skins and leather goods could have kept Pakistani trade in good state. But not only the country had no foreign debts to repay, it had inherited a respectable sterling balance. Law and order was good and there was no unemployment. This was 1947. The question is, what went wrong? How can we solve this enigma of underdevelopment in Pakistan? Some would put the blame on feudalism. Others would say pervasive illiteracy was the main cause. But both these things were there when we showed promise of economic development. After having seen the performance of elected governments in the recent past, the argument of absence of democracy also seems to have lost its force. Now, what is the position in Pakistan? I think most of the things are known to you, but I will recap them. Today, Pakistan is in the midst of multi-dimensional crisis. You can make a list of the crises Pakistan is facing, a long list. Most important being the macroeconomic fiasco. At the same time, it is one of those unfortunate countries which are at the bottom of most social sector activities. This is in spite of the fact that we have a foreign debt of over 32 billion US dollars, in addition to a huge domestic loan which is more than 1,000 billion rupees. Most of you know what is the state of our basic health care, what is the rate of infant mortality, how dismal is our performance in primary education, what is the rate of female literacy, how many people have clean water to drink, and how many are unemployed, both in urban and rural areas. The number is horrendous. I need not go into these details. These facts are very well known to you. But we are very good in one respect, at least in one respect, that is producing more babies. Our population growth rate is highest in the region. If we analyze closely, and this is very crucial, we find at least 4 major fault lines which have hampered our social development and made us a victim of dependency syndrome. Unless we get 3 or 4 billion US dollars every year, we can't survive. Number one, in Pakistan, there is an intellectual vacuum. Our rulers and the educated classes have no capacity to understand the nature of our crisis, nor do they understand the dynamics of social change. They are caught in a sort of a time warp. Then they have the habit of focusing too much on peripheral issues, ignoring the heart of the problem. Areas are seen clearly, but a larger perspective is missing. At the highest level, there is concentration on symptoms rather than the disease. Full attention on a part while leaving the sum of the parts out of focus unattended. More often than not, there is emphasis on short-term, simplistic solutions for complex problems. The question is, if the problems are not understood properly and if our diagnosis is not correct, how can we have correct prognosis and find solutions? 2. Based on a clear vision, politicians, planners, economic managers, bureaucrats, and professional classes, I'm including all educated people in Pakistan in these categories, they have to develop policy options and devise strategies which take into full account the ground situation, together with the comparative advantage of the country and experience of other nations. If our ruling elite had adopted pragmatic policies and followed the logical sequence of development, the country would have become Japan or Singapore within 3 decades after 1947. And there is ample evidence that we were giving training to countries like Singapore, like South Korea. Singapore Airline was built by PIA. And now you see where stands PIA and where does it stand Singapore Airline. Singapore Airline is one of the best right now, and PIA is one of the worst. And this was only 30 years ago, mind you. Early 70s, PIA people were going to Singapore and giving training, and I think some of the airlines have been established by PIA, Emirates, Saudi, Malta Airlines, etc. I was talking of the logical sequence of development. But what they gave us were, there is a logical sequence of development. Unless you follow that, the development doesn't come on a sustainable basis. It may come, you see, off and on, but it may go. But what they gave us were industrial development without adequate agricultural development. Agriculture is the base of every country's development. But they started large-scale industrialization. Number two, large-scale industry without the prior development of a small-scale industry. This has happened all over the world. That is, small and medium-sized industry is the basis of large-scale manufacturing. We focus our attention on large-scale manufacturing and ignored medium and small-sized industry. C, urbanization outpacing industrialization. Large number of people coming to the cities and not finding jobs in the formal sector and becoming part of the informal economy. D, services growing faster than the productive base of agriculture and industry. And the last one, population growth racing ahead of employment growth. We should have focused our attention on on population control from the very beginning. With this illogical approach, a number of imbalances and distortions crept into our economy, and the results are obvious. 3. Whenever any discussion about the decay of our cities and absence of basic services takes place, most people naively believe or argue that our main problem is lack of money. Yes, it can be one of the reasons in some cases, but the real problem now is that there are no structures on ground which can deliver services. There is an institutional bankruptcy, a systemic failure. In many cases, it is simply lack of management. This is directly related to the fact that our structures of the structure of our state is lopsided. It is almost an inverted pyramid. At the top is the federal government with all the resources, power and capacity. At the second tier are the provincial governments with huge staff, small resources, but no real autonomy. Most surprisingly, local government hardly finds any mention in our constitution, although 90% problems are local. And one American statesman said that all politics is local. As a result, it is weak, fragile, and consequently dysfunctional. 4. Our current mode of planning and development, which excludes people from the entire process of decision making, is another major reason for our poor performance in the social sectors. In Pakistan, not the would-be users, but technical experts or bureaucrats identify projects, determine priorities, propose solutions, design mechanisms, manage resources, and implement and monitor development programs. There is no way we can find the inclusion of the people who would use those projects. There are predetermined benefits and fixed rules and procedures by a distant agency. Either it can be in the provincial headquarters or in Islamabad. Consequently, a nexus between consultants, engineers, and contractors has developed in Pakistan, which has hijacked the entire process of development. They, in turn, are supported and protected by an over-centralized bureaucracy and inept politicians. Kickbacks bind them together. That is the common interest. Apart from excluding the people from the decision-making, other major weaknesses of this blueprint approach are, number one, it is quantity oriented. Emphasis is on achieving the targets, which are mostly in the shape of brick and mortar. We want so many primary school buildings, but we do not know what happens there. Either they are converted into autak or cattle pens, whether the teachers go there or not, but every year we would allocate money for primary education and make so many primary school buildings. Number two, there is no transparency and accountability. Number three, maintenance is not inbuilt in the system. Consequently, most of the projects are not sustainable in the long run. One can see that there is a missing link in the organization of development in our country. This missing link is the potential link between communities and higher order institutions, and between sustainable development and mere availability of resources from outside sources. We can find as much money as we like, but how do we spend this money and what benefits accrue to the people, that is another thing. Traditional institutions both at the rural and urban level have become weak. Especially in the big cities, conventional bonds have almost disappeared. Government has been unable to create an effective and equitable management system for the city environment. And this is the main cause of urban decay in most big cities like Karachi. New broad-based community institutions are needed to manage common assets and services on a productive and sustainable basis. Another major problem is that our ivory tower engineers, town planners, architects, and economists neither have fresh ideas nor learn from their past mistakes. They are also not at fault, as they are taught the first world approaches to deal with third world problems. And this may apply, unfortunately, to the graduate students who are going to get their degrees today. You have to find what is happening at the grassroots and how can you apply your knowledge there. The textbooks of our engineer and architecture schools are dominated by concepts which in most cases are inappropriate in local conditions and are very costly to implement. Similarly, our bureaucrats and administrators are not trained to experiment and innovate. They can at best administer things, which unfortunately they are not doing now. They can't even administer. Let us now briefly talk about an alternative approach which takes care of most of these problems. It is the people-centered or participatory approach where communities, not the government, play the key role. They establish their own institutions, identify and organize their resources, prioritize their needs, manage their development agenda, and forge the necessary links for technical assistance and social guidance by outside agencies. The supporting organizations provide needed help, but they do not infringe upon the sovereignty of the community organizations. This model was initially developed by my teacher, and Aqil Bilgrami just mentioned that we lost him in only a month back, and that is a great loss, national loss. This was developed by Dr. Akhtar Hamid Khan at Comilla and has been successfully replicated by Orangi Pilot Project, AKRSP, Sindh Kachhi Abadi Authority, and many other countries. Even you see Central Asian republics, in South Africa, in Cambodia, and this Comilla model was adopted by Indonesia in early 70s. And if you go to Indonesia, their local institutions, they are very strong in spite of the fact that whatever is happening at the national level. Khuda Ki Basti has also its rules in this participatory approach. Now let us see the rationale for community participation at planning, implementation and maintenance stages. Viewed from the point of view of planning, it is readily apparent that local development programs cannot be effective if identified and directed by a distant planning process. Community organization naturally has to be the basis of micro-level planning, starting with the identification of local projects. In terms of the implementation of development projects, Government has no delivery mechanism at the local or neighborhood level. It cannot reach a large number of city dwellers on an individual basis, given existing managerial and financial constraints. Community participation provides an effective and cost-effective mechanism for government agencies to reach small farmers and other underprivileged members of society. Centralized agencies concerned with the supply of goods and services are usually evaluated by quantitative measures, as I said earlier. Individuals demanding and receiving these goods and services are concerned with both quantity and quality. Clearly, the monitoring and evaluation of development activities cannot be effective without the input of intended beneficiaries. Participatory approach is the only mechanism through which the beneficiaries can demand and monitor quality. Now the question is of resources also. Government resources are scarce relative to the human and financial investment that is needed for sustainable development. Government needs to accept local communities as partners in development. Effective community organization is a mechanism for mobilizing resources on a continuing basis. There is also a compelling social argument in favor of supporting a participatory approach to development. In a society such as Pakistan that is subject to powerful forces of social fragmentation and political polarization, there is a desperate need to replace divisiveness with consensus and compromise. The participatory approach is the only way to create an enlarged social consensus on development issues. Ladies and gentlemen, my speech has been quite long. I don't want to go on, but I'm not saying that government can be replaced by NGOs or community organizations, or it should have no role in planning and development. Of course, it is the government's mandate and responsibility to provide basic services, especially to the deprived classes. But what we should clearly understand is that now conventional approaches in Pakistani context are becoming increasingly irrelevant. The government should accept the weaknesses of the current system and adopt new strategies to reach the target groups. It should have trust in the people and instead of overawing them, try to learn from them. They know their problems and in most cases the solutions too. At the same time, our professionals have also to indigenize their approach. In the process, they may have to unlearn some of the theories they have learned at elite schools. I will end my speech on a Chinese saying which is very close to my heart. It reads like this: go to the people, live with them, learn from them, love them, start with what they have, start with what they know, build with what they have. But with the best leaders, when the work is done, the task accomplished, the people will say, we have done this ourselves. I wish you all success in your future life.
I will now request the acting head of the Faculty of Architecture, Syed Akil Bilgrami, to read out the citation and present the candidates from the Faculty of Architecture to the Chairman of the Board of Governors for the award of degrees.
Sir, I present to you the students who have been examined and have qualified for the degree of Bachelor of Architecture in the Faculty of Architecture, to which I pray they be admitted. Ali Mazhar. Asma Khalid Sheikh. M. Salmanul Haq. Farheen Sayyida, Zafar Sayyida. She is not here this morning. Shoaib Ahmed Khan, distinction in thesis. Farah Khalid. Irfan Ali Naqi, distinction in thesis. Fatima Arif. Mona Arif. Rubina Parveen Sadial. Shamin Lodhia. Swaleha Arif. Zunaira Mufti. Hina Jalil. Maria Jamil Ansari, passed with overall distinction. Nasima Parveen Sadial. Saira Shabbir Mapuri. Zunaira Batul. SM Tarma Naqvi. Abida Raza. Kashif Qayyum Siddiqqui. Fatima Saeed. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Shiraz Wania, Coordinator of the Department of Communication Design, will now read out the citation and present the candidates from the Department of Communication Design to the Chairman of the Board of Governors for the award of degrees.
Sir, I present to you the students who have been examined and have qualified for the degree of Bachelor of Design in the Department of Communication Design, to which I pray they be admitted. Adil Ahmad Usmani, distinction in thesis. Aisha Ehsan. Mohammad Shuja Rashid. Fareen Hussain. Babar Naeem Sheikh, distinction in thesis. Kiran Murad, distinction in thesis. Mohammad Afaq Hussain. Mariam Hussain. Rabab Fatima Kazalbash. Sarah Jamil. Amna Majid. Iram Raza. Nosheen Fahim Ali Boy, distinction in thesis. Ummul Baneen Asghar Atarwala. Sharmeen Farid. Thank you.
Mrs. Shehnaz Ismail, Head of the Department of Textile Design, will read out the citation and present the candidates from the Department of Textile Design to the Chairman of the Board of Governors for the award of degrees.
Sir, I present to you the students who have been examined and have qualified for the degree of Bachelor of Design in the Department of Textile Design, to which I pray they be admitted. Sara Zafar Halim, distinction in thesis. Afshan Ahmed, distinction in thesis. Aisha Iqbal Bhatti. Mehreen Tahir, passed with overall distinction. Sabeen Shahid, passed with overall distinction. Asya Samad. Bushra Masood Butt, distinction in thesis. Sania Hazir. Shahryar Salim, distinction in thesis. Nosheen Nasir Khan.
I request Sayyid Ahmed Wasif, Coordinator of the Faculty of Fine Arts, to read out the citation and present the candidates from the Faculty of Fine Arts to the Chairman of the Board of Governors for award of degrees and diploma.
Sir, I present to you the students who have been examined and have qualified for the degree of Bachelor of Fine Art in the Faculty of Fine Arts, to which I pray they be admitted. Asif Mahmood, distinction in thesis. Adila Suleiman passed with overall distinction. Khurram Khan, distinction in thesis. Aisha Abdullah. Asma Ahmed passed with overall distinction. Iraj Manzoor, distinction in thesis. Hina Iftikhar, a special student who is qualified for diploma. I take pleasure in announcing that Asif Mahmood got the highest marks in his thesis work in the whole college. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, may I request you to accept the candidates to the respective degrees and diplomas.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as the chairman, Board of Governors of the school, I admit you to respective degree and diploma and charge you that in the conduct of your life and in your conversation and deeds, you do prove yourselves worthy of the same.
Academic awards are presented to graduates who have achieved a distinction for their overall academic performance. The final percentage is achieved by giving 35% weightage to the CGPA, 15% weightage to the dissertation, and 50% weightage to the marks awarded by the external examiners towards the final thesis.
May I request Mr. Tasneem Ahmed Siddiqqui to present the awards to the recipients.
The 1999 award for outstanding research and dissertation carried out by a student of the graduating class, instituted in memory of Dr. Salimuzzaban Siddiqqui, goes to Iram Raza from the Department of Communication Design.
I now request the Executive Director, Sayyid Akil Bilgarami, to make the announcement for the Founders Award.
The Founders Award is made to a graduating student who has not only done consistently well in academics, but who also, through his or her actions and deeds, showed a strong commitment to the school and the chosen profession, participated in extracurricular activities and community service within and outside school, has been caring, humble, open-minded, and mature in dealings with faculty members and with fellow students, and has shown exceptional organizational and leadership qualities. In other words, this award gives recognition to the student graduate who most closely reflects the philosophy of the school as envisaged by the founders. For this award, may I request one of the founders, Mr. Inayat Ismail. Is he in the audience? Inayat? Sorry. I would like you to be there. Amen. The Founders Award 1999 goes to Shamin Lodhia. Thank you, Raj.
The valedictory speech will be presented.
There are other awards as well. One, this is for the overall distinction achieved by students. And as you were just told, that a distinction means getting 85% marks and above. Sabeen Shahid, Department of Textile Design. Mehreen Tahir, Department of Textile Design. Maria Jamil Ansari, Faculty of Architecture. Adila Suleiman, Faculty of Fine Arts. Asma Ahmed, Faculty of Fine Arts.
The valedictory speech will be presented by Maria Jamil Ansari from the Faculty of Architecture. She has graduated with 85.89%, which was the highest amongst the graduating class of 1999.
Respected Chairman, Convocation Speaker, members of the Board of Governors, members of the faculty, dear parents and fellow students, Assalamu alaikum. I stand here before you today as a very proud representative of the graduating class of 1999, a class which has come a very long way during its 4 to 5 year program at the Indus Valley School of Art and Architecture. Being associated with the school for such a long period of time and today suddenly facing the prospect of breaking away from its boundaries is a very intimidating thought, a thought that I am sure has all of us preoccupied. The school has been much more than the mere fulfillment of a curriculum. It has been more about the process of discovery, both at that educational and at a human level. Today, we take a detour in search of a better professional tomorrow for ourselves. But please let me emphasize that this great challenge that we have undertaken will be absolutely unapproachable and unattainable without the help of you, our faculty, parents, and friends. In my opinion, we need your support like never before because we now approach unrevealed grounds. Throughout our phase at the Indus Valley, we longed and dreamed for this day. That's besides the point that most of the time it was out of sheer frustration because the stress factor was absolutely skyrocketing. The architecture department especially has had to wait another year for this day, considering the fact that our colleagues and friends graduated last year after the completion of their 4-year program. But now that all of us are here celebrating our day, the threshold of independence seems like the most difficult step in our lives. This is primarily because of the very strong linkage and bondage we have developed with this institution. Indus has provided us with the genesis of our being, an evolution which refines with each and every passing day. We came here bemused and in search of answers, which we have tried to procure during our time spent here. Each and every one is responsible for this achievement, especially Akil Saab, who laid the grounds for a liberal yet self-contained environment. Mrs. Shanaz Ismail, the entire faculty and the administration department all have been extremely giving and very genial. I would like to take a moment here and talk about the school and the attributes that place it well above other institutions. For this, we have to thank the students too and the atmosphere that they have created that has become so synonymous with Indus. The sense of protectiveness that exists amongst the students for each other is far any compliment. When I talk about protectiveness, it goes beyond the immediate surroundings of the school. Be it city tours or external class trips, a vigilant and watchful eye was never too far away from us. The latest example I can give you is of the Junoon concert. Some of the boys missed the whole concert nearly, just so that the girls, their families, could find a safe entrance amidst a huge growing crowd outside. But the most commendable fact was that there was not a single complaint heard from any of them. Such is the selflessness that exists within. Thank you very much for providing that spirit. We would like to thank our long-standing president, Kashif, who graduates with us today, and his diligent council members. And his diligent council members for organizing many joyous functions and events. Thank you. The architecture graduating class would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude for the help and moral support provided to us by our junior students. All of them really came through for us, outweighing their own personal commitments. I just hope that all of you know how much that meant to us and how we savor your friendship. If it would not have been for the total and unquestionable support of all our parents, this day would have been absolutely impossible. All of us were faced with long and disturbed work timings, especially during the end days of our thesis. But the very days and nights were always met with limitless words of encouragement and reassurance. Right now, when you see all of us with degrees and ready to face the future is by far the best way we could think of thanking you. Thank you very much. I would personally wish to thank my parents. I have always tried to make you feel proud, and I think today I have stepped an inch forward. I can in no way forget my family for their eternal support and that of my thesis advisor, Tariq Hassan. I would also like to mention the presence of a very special friend whose belief in me is responsible for who I am today. We leave you today well aware of the responsibilities which include us and essentially you, our junior students, because we bear with us the task of making a good name for you in our professions by virtue of our deeds. Let me assure you that we will be there right at the end of your journey to welcome you into this new environment. We will never let you down. We are duty-bound to your futures also. We graduate with a promise, one that upholds the morals and philosophy of this institution. We shall inshallah make you proud. We graduate with a hope, one that encompasses all our dreams and ambitions. We graduate with a vision whose realization will only be possible with the continued support of our faculty, parents, and friends. Even now that time has come to go our separate ways, we are literally trying to grasp onto any ends. We would not like you to think of us as just another graduating batch. We would like still to have an active relationship with the school. Please don't forget us, because it's very hard to let go of such special surroundings and acquaintances. Thank you very much.
May I now request the Chairman of the Board of Governors, Mr. Hamid N. Jafar, to present his concluding remarks.
Ladies and gentlemen, my young friends, Assalamu alaikum. Coming here, Akil said, I have to keep you entertained till 1 o'clock. But my young friends, I know how eager you are to get to your families and celebrate this happy occasion. Coming last is very easy. Everything that needed to be said has been already said. Yet I must perform some of my duties. It is my pleasure and privilege to be here today amongst you at this happy occasion of the 6th convocation of this fine institution. I say this with a conviction that comes forth based on the work of the graduating students that I viewed here some nights ago. I must admit that each year, the content and the quality of work have improved significantly. Not just the skills part, but also the thought process and relevance to our culture and environment are more pronounced. I urge everyone to take time out and visit the accomplishments of our graduates. It's on display. You really do us proud. Our chief guest, Mr. Tasneem Siddiqqui, has, in a matter of minutes, shared with us his life experiences that you need to pay heed to as you step out in this cruel world. Your untiring efforts, the pains and patience of your parents, and the care and interest of the faculty and administration that have been invested in the past years here give us reason to pin our hopes on you. The decadence that we have experienced in the past years will not just go away. We cannot expect the depraved that wield the power or the resources to help the deprived ones. But if we collectively will not transform the rot, this poor country of ours will continue to be a paradise for the rich. Rich or poor, we are all God's creations. We are indeed grateful to the wealthy that share with those that are not as fortunate. In fact, on behalf of the Indus Valley School of Art and Architecture, I wish to make an appeal to all present here. Your institution needs substantial funds to complete the Nasarwanji building that stands unfinished to our side. When completed, it shall be an exemplary feat of conservation. We will simultaneously be paying homage to one of the worthy fathers of our city. At this point, I would like to mention an exchange that took place just a few moments ago with Mr. Akil Pilgrami, and he has indicated that collectively the board and the administration would like to consider creating a chair named after Akhtar Hamid Khan Sahib. What it will take is phenomenal, but if 12 mad people would not have got together to create this institution, we would not have had it here in our midst. I may raise another controversial issue. For me, it's painful. I hear that we are entering into the next century, the next millennium, and this fine building stays incomplete. I will just narrate an anecdote that my son asked, how come it's the end of the century and millennium? Don't people know who play cricket that the century is completed when the 100 is up, not when 99 is? So for me, the millennium and the century is a year away, and I hope we can complete this building still this millennium and this century. Despite the many ailments that we lament about, Karachi is lucky. We are extremely indebted to the Friends of the Indus Valley for their fundraising support. Similarly, ladies and gentlemen, you may not be aware, but many professionals of our fair city volunteer their time, and that is very difficult. Giving money, writing out a check is easy, but give their time to continuously guide the administration through the various committees and statutory bodies. On my personal behalf, I'd like to thank the Board of Governing members and who have made my task over the years very easy and have helped govern this institution. As I come into my last year of my term, I'd like to thank the founders for having thrusted this greatness upon me. Now, I will not, with due respect to some past and current masters of ours present in this audience, I will not dwell on the confusion that exists in our capital, fondly known as ISLU, 10 kilometers away from Pakistan. But the confusion, and we live on a day-to-day basis, we live in hope. And allow me to conclude by sharing with you extracts from a business manager's guide. Mr. Tasneem Siddiqqui and Sayyid Akil Bilgrami shared with you some valuable quotations. This is also plagiarizing on my part. And I know that some of you have already been in the real world while at the Indus Valley, not as protected as most. Some have been in the real world, and may be able to relate some of the advice that follows. Excuse me. Imagine life as a game in which you are juggling some 5 balls in the air. You name them: work, family, health, friends, and spirit. And you're keeping all these in the air. You will soon understand that work is a rubber ball. If you drop it, it bounces back at you. But the other 4, family, health, friends, and spirit, are made of glass. If you drop one of these, it'll be irrevocably scuffed, marked, nicked, damaged, or even shattered. They will never be the same. You must understand that and strive for balance in your life. How? I have a long list of don'ts, not do's. Don't undermine your worth by comparing yourself with others. It is because we are different that each one of us is special. Don't set your goals by what other people deem important. Only you know what is best for you. Don't take for granted the things closest to your heart. Cling to them as they were your life. For without them, life is meaningless. Don't let your life slip through your fingers by living in the past or for the future. By living your life one day at a time, you live all the days of your life. Maybe a message for our masters in Islamabad. Don't give up when you still have something to give. Nothing is really over until the moment you stop trying. Don't be afraid to admit that you are less than perfect. It is this fragile thread that binds us together. Don't be afraid to encounter risk. It is by taking chances that we learn how to be brave. Don't shut love out of your life by saying it's impossible to find. The quickest way to receive love is to give. The fastest way to lose love is to hold it too tight. And the best way to keep love is give it wings. Don't run through life so fast that you forget not only where you've been, but also where you're going. Another message for our masters in Islamabad. Don't forget, a person's greatest emotional need is to feel appreciated. Don't be afraid to learn. Knowledge is weightless, a treasure you can always carry easily. Don't use time or words carelessly, neither can be retrieved. Life is not a race, but a journey to be savored each step of the way. Yesterday is history, tomorrow is mystery, and today is a gift. That's why we call it the present.
The Registrar will now request the Chairman of the Board of Governors to declare the convocation closed.
Mr. Chairman, may I request you to declare the convocation closed?
I declare the convocation closed.
The graduating students are requested to assemble near the stage for the tree planting ceremony immediately after the departure of the convocation procession. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly remain seated. After the departure of the convocation procession, further announcements will be made.
Indus Valley School of Art and Architecture would like to express its deep gratitude to the people who have helped in making possible today's event, particularly to Mrs. Anjum Parvez of Roots and Shoots.
May I remind you, ladies and gentlemen, thesis work of all the graduating students is spread over 3 levels. The communication design thesis is on the 2 lower levels of the Nasir Wanji building. The sculpture display is in the basement of the main building, and the painting majors have the exhibition on the ground level. The textile and architecture thesis work is put up on the 1st floor in the auditorium in the adjoining halls. and the 4th and 6th semester textile display is in the central courtyard.
On behalf of the Board of Governors, the Executive Committee, the faculty and the students, I wish to thank you for taking up time to be with us on this joyous occasion.